Well. There's a new portal that just opened up down at Love Park. I'd love to just hop through that. And if it could take me back in time to maybe 2001. Back when my superstar played back-to-backs and would go out at night, party to the late hours of the morning, show up, practice. We ain't talking about practice. I'm here to play games. And if you think I'm going to be missing back-to-backs and opening night in Philadelphia, you out your damn mind. I got JoJo still with me. I love him, but man, we are being tested like something I've never been tested before when it comes to being a fan of a sports franchise. And a good day, everybody. Sixers season/home opener going down this evening against the Milwaukee Bucks. 10 games in the association here on Wednesday, October the 23rd. Live picks and roll with you, Brace Sean Barnard. Hello, Sean.
Yeah, what's going on, Sean Brace? A little bit more down in the dumps than I want to see right now. I understand no Joel Embiid, no Paul George. But you know what? We got basketball back, man. I got to watch 2 NBA games last night. It's that time of year again, so we're in it for the long haul. It's not ideal that this is how the Sixers season starting out, but I come in good spirits regardless.
All right. Well, you are a very positive type of human being. I know you very well behind the scenes, and the sun is always shining for Sean Barnard, which is a beautiful thing. And not to say it's not for me, right? Like you said, I watched both games last night. We had 2 winners. Nice work on yesterday's episode to kick off the damn season here. So let's not, put that to the side. But there are a couple different conversations that we're going to get into. So let's get right into the Sixers from what took place yesterday to where we're at right now. And look, we're not going to argue. This isn't our team. We're not going to make decisions for this team. The takes are flying. I saw Mike Gill today say blame the fans. Like Mike Gill from ESPN out there in AC talking about the fans are to blame for this, because I'll pull his tweet up because that blew me away. You can blame anybody you want, but not the fans. We are not the people to blame over what's taking place with the 76ers organization. It just is the bottom line for me is they don't care. They don't care what you think. They don't care what you the season say. They'll tell you they do. But in their mind, tell me if I'm wrong too, Sean. In their mind, they're doing what's best for Joel Embiid, for Paul George. They went out there and got the deepest bench possible. They got players to fill in throughout the course of 82 games, plus the in-season tournament, plus the whole second season when it comes to playoffs. They don't care. And they've told us this for years now. This is just more of the same. They don't care if it's opening night. They don't care if it's comeback night. They don't care if it's we're raising a banner up to the a jersey to the rafters. If it's best for Joel Embiid or that player to sit out that night, regardless of what the reasoning is, in their minds, they're going to do what's best for the organization / player. And here we are. And look, my takeaway was immediately that, but it was banged home by the answer with Kyle Neubeck pressing Nick Nurse down at the practice yesterday going, we're just looking for a bottom line answer. And he said, I'm not going to, I can't give you anything more than he's just not able to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, to me, for this exact situation with Joel Embiid here, there's 2 different sections of it. And by the way, I hold Paul George in a slightly different category because we all saw that injury happen. We all kind of the Joel stuff is more of what's bothersome, I think, to Sixers fans here. For me, there's 2 parts of the question. It's number 1, what is best for Joel Embiid? What is the best outlook to get him healthy in the playoffs? And number 2 is how do you actually handle that information? That's where I think things fell short from the Sixers end. I can still wrap my brain around the concept of that this is the game plan to limit them. But if that is the plan, then make that crystal clear to everyone. I personally was encouraged heading into the season that maybe we wouldn't have as much of the, an hour before game time and Joel Embiid's going to warm up and then it'll be decided if he's played, or it's a game time decision right before tip, whether or not he'll be in or out of the lineup. That's the stuff that I was hoping we'd see less of this year. We're not off to a hot start. I guess give him a couple points for letting the shoe fall 2 days before or whatever the case may be. But I do think the entire the look of it is extremely poor for the franchise, even when I still kind of lean towards the side of understanding, protecting him, limiting all those things. But there isn't the proper response here. And for that, shout out to Kyle Neubeck for doing his job and asking Nick Nurse straight up. I almost feel bad for Nick Nurse to an extent, because I guarantee these are decisions being made above his head. The way that he kind of get agitated, my feel on that is if it were up to him, Joel would be in the lineup, and it's not up to him is the situation. So I feel bad he's the guy falling on the sword. I do think this should be something that Joel or Daryl directly address here and step forward and face that full head. But yeah, not a great start here, and I do think the optics of it are the worst part.
Yes, of course, across the board. Now, there's two things you said there, and I'm just wondering, why did you think that we were going to experience something different with the Joel Embiid roller coaster day to day? And two, yeah, Sean, it's the same old song and dance. What you just said about Nick Nurse has been said about Doc Rivers, has been said about Brett Brown. It's the same song and tired freaking dance with this organization. Look, if you're telling me that these ideas that they make, these these plans, contingency plans of how we're going to handle Joel Embiid perfectly, resulted in anything other than a second round exit year after year after year, then sure, knock yourself dead. Do whatever you got to do to get through 82 games. Nothing's worked. So play the freaking guy. Play him. Opening freaking night. Come on. No back-to-backs. It does look weak, man. It is extremely weak from a franchise perspective, from a player perspective. He is one of the top 5 players in the game. And we're talking about, maybe 50 games this year. Maybe.
I just need to hear a what. What is the issue here? Because what Kyle was pushing back on in that question is that there is no injury report for Joel Embiid, that he's in the ramp up process, that it's this dude played in the Olympics. This dude showed up, lost 25 pounds apparently heading into training camp, looks in great shape, looks sharp according to Nick Nurse, but he can't play in game 1. So it's there's something missing here for what is the reason, what is the logic, or what's going on. Now, you can look at that as maybe Joel is more hurt than we're available to know at that point. I don't know if that makes it better. It makes it better from an optics standpoint, but certainly not from a confidence for how this season's going to go sort of outlook there. I don't know. There needs to be more of just a clear response to what the situation is here, because it is very frustrating if this is going to be how the entire season goes, for sure.
Yeah. Look, Joel Embiid gets out in front of that microphone and he says, yeah, playing in the Olympics absolutely is the reason why I'm not able to go right here, right now. What do you think the reaction is? And look, pretty sure that that's the reason, right?
No, I would disagree with that. I don't think that was a full 2-3 months ago at this point, and there was no reports of him injuring something there.
No.
To me, I don't.
He came back and just and didn't hit the ground running, and maybe just took a month off, and then everybody else was ramping up and Joel Embiid was stagnant. And this was the idea all along. Look, if Joel Embiid, from an organizational standpoint, if Joel Embiid's going to play in France, we're going to give him off X amount of days. And oh, by the way, we're going to sacrifice the first 2 weeks of the season.
I mean, that could very well be the plan. Make that obvious. Make that clear to everyone that is the plan then, if that's the case. I mean, I still very much firmly stand in the camp of there should be a management plan for how they're going to handle this. I think in years past, it's been far too reactionary for he gets injured and then you're scrambling, trying to figure out how to get him back to 100% or make it work, get him healthy for the playoffs. We haven't had success there. I don't think they've leaned as carefully into this as other teams have and as is necessary for Joel's health track record here. But with all that being said there, make the plan clear that if you have one, if we're being proactive about this, if there's going to be this the new normal put in place for Joel, then make that obvious to everyone for what that exactly is, rather than everyone's kind of squirming here. Because I even with me kind of believing that he would play yesterday because there's been no injury revealed, there was this weirdness about this from start to finish since he got there. We still haven't heard reports of him playing 5-on-5 in practice yet. Why? What is going on here?
It's because the Sixers think they know best. And they don't care. That's all I'm saying. That's my takeaway for years now. And it really is evident over the last 2 to 3 seasons. Look, they go out and make moves. They put the roster together. He's not going anywhere, right? We're like, and I'm not sitting here saying I do want him to go, but at the end of the day, man, excuse me, this definitely had me feeling a certain type of way yesterday. I won't lie. Like almost like, all right. Because he is a leader. And that is a vibe in that locker room right now, right? Like your best player isn't able to go. And last year, at the end of the season, it was get the big man back, get the big man back. We need to get the big man. You know what? Like maybe it's not in the best interest to have that mentality. Get the big man back. Need the big man back. Let's get Joel Embiid back in the lineup. Like we're already, the season hasn't even started, and that is the plan of action. Get the big man back. It's just like, all right, maybe this is not what it's all about. And again, what have they won, Sean? They haven't won anything.
Sure.
So as much as I love Joel Embiid, and I think he is a top 5 player, and if he goes somewhere else, maybe all of a sudden he finds the fountain of youth, and all of a sudden it's rubbed in our face. Dude, we've been here and done this for years now. It's a new season. This is the time where, as a sports fan, you're supposed to believe. Like everybody starts off 0-0. Like, oh, I think we can run with the Celtics. I think we could. And then the Celtics play a game, and then Joel Embiid's not playing, and Paul George is not. It's like the season's already over.
The season's not. I mean, like to defend Joel a little bit here is like there's just no replacement to the talent that he is. Like there's no room to go upward when looking for what that guy can bring to a lineup when he is healthy. And I understand it's frustrating, all that, but the mindset is still like to get him one healthy playoff run. We have yet to see that, and if they do that, they very well may win a championship. And you can kind of like spit your coffee up about that, be upset about it, but that is the goal, that is the mindset, and like it's still worth taking a swing. Like
not upset,
sure,
not saying you're wrong. It's just come on, we've said that, like, aren't we? We're at the point now where this is insanity, right?
I mean, but what's your fix here? Like, is it to move on from Joel?
It might be after this year. But it's not happening. He just got a brand new deal.
And I question, like, there's no world I feel that you can increase your chance of winning a championship by moving on from him.
We've seen what this brings to the table.
Not with Paul George yet.
Yeah. And that's a big if too, as well, as we're seeing.
Sure.
I get it. The vision is there. Look, at the end of the day, you have to say, look, the Celtics are setting the bar pretty damn high.
Yeah.
So if you think that you're going to get some picks and maybe, a couple players around the league and all of a sudden mix it together and, you're going to compete with a team like that. No, I'm not here pitching that idea, but like this is my team. This is my number one squad. I eat, sleep, and drink the Sixers, and I'm deflated.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
Yeah, but like, but that's not what it's about though, right? Like, how do we get here? Like, this is ridiculous. This is absurd.
Yeah.
Like, opening night, and oh yeah, Joel Embiid, your number one player, who is healthy, who is coming off a run, getting his gold medal in the Olympics, who, is that guy, is not playing. And oh, by the way, it's because we don't feel like he should be playing to start the season off.
The how did we get here conversation is far larger than just Joel.
That's true.
NBA-wide conversation, the management, and like I don't love making this comparison because I think he's in a worse spot health-wise, but the Kawhi Leonard stuff and out in Los Angeles, there are some parallels between him and Joel, and he's kind of in the same situation where he won't be there for opening night. And also some weirdness behind the scenes as far as like him showing up to Team USA, them sending him home, the Clippers initially saying that like they fully backed him suiting up and playing for the team, and then overall it coming out that he needed another surgery after the fact and that kind of thing. I don't know what's going on with Joel. If it's something like that, he obviously was there for Team USA, was on the court and playing throughout the Olympics. Who knows what has happened since then? He does look slimmer by my eyes, I have to say. I was watching some of the film of him at practice yesterday where he looked moving fine to me. He looked like Joel Embiid, looked smooth and looked slim. That I do think that some of the weight loss is pretty legitimate with him. So I don't know. It's going to be a long season. We got a lot of guys that are going to help this team stay afloat, which keeps me, I guess, optimistic about the Sixers team, but we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be buckle up for more of a circus than I expected. I thought this was going to be the most normal Sixers season ever. Maybe not the case.
Well, no, that's another thing that's frustrating. You have a guy by the name of Tyrese Maxey that we should all be excited about, and it's like an afterthought right now because
Yeah.
of this circus, because of this nonsense that this team continues to put out there year after year after year. They talk about this ownership group always delivering, never a want that they don't answer. Understood, but this feels very empty. This just organization. You see Josh Harris on the sidelines of DC. You know he's dealing with all these other teams. And then what's going on with the Sixers? It's just from one man's take, it feels very empty in Sixers land right now. It just does. And it's a shame because of a guy by the name of Tyrese Maxey. And oh, by the way, Nick Nurse, who's a great coach, the depth that they put together around this team, like there are some things that we should be getting behind. But here we are, Joel Embiid, more nonsense year after year after year. A lot of people checking in, of course, Sean. People asking Timmy, saying if he's not healthy in October, what makes you think he's going to be healthy in May and June? That's a good one because it's, like I said, year after year. Luke Arcani says, Andre Drummond, can you give me one more day? Sure. That's another point, right? Like they are set up. They got Andre Drummond. They got a good backup center in there. It's just a shame, man. It really is because it's more the same from this organization. All right. Well, look, we got a lot to get to. Big day. I had to reset everything, all of my things. So obviously everything's going crazy with technology. A lot of games to get to. 10, in fact, in the association. We've got to recap 2 more. So putting a bow on the shenanigans that are happening with the Sixers yet again. Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll just say that I think people are gonna like this team more than they expect. Like even with all this going on, that this team's gonna scrap, this team's gonna fight. There's a lot of guys that are likable and exciting to watch play basketball that I think is gonna be shown tonight. I still think they got a chance against the Bucks tonight. Obviously not as much without Joel Embiid and Paul George there, but a nice 30 point performance from Tyrese Maxey and some strong showings from some of the new faces will have a bit of a different tone after tonight, I think, for Sixers fans.
All right. Sean Barnard, great stuff there. We'll keep it moving, and we will talk about the 76ers and their game against the Milwaukee Bucks, and maybe Tyrese Maxey could be the king of the court this evening. Maybe he gives you a 50-point performance and sets the table. We'll talk about it. Let's revisit last night, though, quickly. Celtics dominant, three-pointer after three-pointer. I think Josh Hart said, if I'm not mistaken, I read this, and it's real, that he expects them to be drug tested, how Boston was so dominant.
He's asking for them to be drug tested. He said he's never seen something like that. He wants
I've never heard something like that. That's great. Yeah, well, look, they almost set the record for 3-pointers made, and they missed a ton too as well. I think they missed 13 straight throughout the course of the second half there. But just a dominant performance. And again, the bar is set pretty high with the Celtics.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I'm frustrated because they're leaning into this 3-point attack, like probably more than we've seen from any team. I do think that at another point this season, they will break that 3-point record. And I think they're going to be in the record books for some of the season long, just accolades for how many 3-pointers they do knock down. They've leaned as far into 5-out offense as I've ever seen. Like legitimately not a single guy in the paint for most offensive possessions at this point. Jason Tatum looks hungry. He made his message clear in the early minutes of last night for he's wearing the disrespect on his sleeves, on his chest, and wants everybody to know about it. So they are the gold standard for how good the NBA is going to be this season. That shouldn't be a surprise to anyone as they are the defending champs. But the Celtics look ready for round 2. This does not look like a team that has any sort of complacency in it. So, yeah, that's the team to watch and the where the bar should be set for the whole season.
All right. Yeah, and, look, from the standpoint of Tatum hit 25 in the first half. It was like one of the top bet things on DraftKings Sportsbook. Cash that for everybody out there. Brown had a big game. Anything else for you as far as new with the Celtics this year? Again, game 1 against the Knicks. Still a lot of hype in that game, but anything new from the Celtics perspective that caught your eye last night?
Again, like the 3-point volume to me is just really notable and something I think that we should keep in mind moving forward. Like we see what a copycat league it is. To give the full numbers here, they shot 61 3-pointers last night. Like that is an absurd number when you factor in they attempted 95 total shots. So about 2/3 of them coming from beyond the arc. I believe a little more there. That's insane and something that I think the league is going to continue to trend towards. So you got to find a way to match that. And by the way, the Knicks are like a fairly good perimeter defense team guarding the 3-point line and things like that.
So.
Yeah, Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby having no effect on that whatsoever. And even I saw a stat on the quote-unquote guarded three-point attempts by NBA.com's definition of that. They were over 1.13 points per possession on three-point shots on guarded attempts there. So anything over 1 is really good for that number there. Pretty worrying statistics when you kind of really think about all that.
Are we going to reach a point where they just shoot threes?
Maybe. I honestly, like, I hate that it's trending that direction, but when we're talking about the simple math of thing, it's 3 is worth more than 2. That is no secret to NBA teams at this point. And you basically got to score if you're going to make 40% of threes, which is a really good rate and higher than a team will reach as a team over there. But you got to make 60% of your 2-point attempts to match that efficiency there. So that's where the math game gets into it. That's why the mid range is dying. I do think that the 3-point influx continues, and we're not at the ceiling of what that'll look like yet. I don't think it's great for basketball. It's certainly not great from a viewing experience, but that's what teams are going to do to win. And if that's the best route, that's what they're going to do. So we'll see how it shakes out from here.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's almost like you want to give them the lane, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, take your 2.
Yeah, seriously. It's like the old James Harden defense. When I remember when teams were literally like defending him to his side to force him into a layup. Like we're getting to that point from a league-wide standpoint, which is insane.
Quickly on the Knicks, Mikal Bridges is the story. What the hell happened?
Yeah, very strange to me whoever gave the advice to a guy who's been a very good three-point shooter at the NBA level for the entirety of his career that we need to tweak your shot. Now, I did see Mikal's quote on it, who said he developed a hitch in his first season at the NBA, has spent the past 7 years trying to tweak it there. I mean, he's always had a bit of a unique release. It's never looked like this, and it's very clear that there's kind of this not fluidity in it to me. I do think in general, shooting coaches can do a lot more harm than good to players, particularly when they're having this amount of success that he clearly already has at the NBA level. I do think he settled in a little bit in the second half, and this isn't like full out panic. It shouldn't be in New York just yet, but it's not a great sign that a guy that you just invested everything in and really has to be either the second or third star for this to work for New York looks like that on opening night. So I do think he looked much more comfortable in the second half. It's something I'll have my eye on moving forward, but very interesting storyline and not one that I expected to be diving into at all heading into the season.
All right, we just bringing it back because we do have a comment coming in here from somebody on Twitter. It says, same tired line of blaming Embiid, Josh Harris owning other teams has no effect on our Sixers. These pessimists like me just hope it collapses. Embiid is practicing and ramping up. Paul George as well. Caution is the smart move. These guys are the ones who said Joel will never play. Now, see, this is where you're wrong. They're a young property G1, and you're just assuming that you know what you're talking about because you're on social media. Obviously, I've been doing this a lot longer than you out there. Young property, it's in your name. Bottom line is I've been through this song and dance with Joel Embiid being drafted. I sat through the first 2 seasons, told everybody to hold out hope, even though he got his second surgery in that back-to-back summers. I remember where I was. I tell this story often. I was on the beaches of Avalon. And at that point in time, I said, anything you get from him will be gravy. I thought all along that Joel Embiid would be the centerpiece. Nothing is surprising me about how amazing Joel Embiid is on the floor. Let me back that up. I thought to myself that this dude could very well win an MVP. I thought that this dude very well could be a guy that would be the greatest big man to ever play the game. Yeah, I said that all along. So if you want to do your due diligence and go look back at some of my old videos, knock yourself out. But here we are in 2024, Holmes. It's been a long damn time. So again, you're young. So if you want to have that optimistic view of they're doing what's right for Joel Embiid, how dare you say anything negative about our guy? Great. Knock yourself out. I'm past that. I'm done. This organization don't give a damn about you. They don't care about me. And look, I don't think it's that far. Like, I want to put that out there. I said specifically that when it comes to this ownership group, I want to highlight this. We've spoken to people on the inside. I know I've spoken to two people in the last 2 seasons that are involved day to day. And I asked them that same question because I'm curious about the answer from their perspective. Is like, are they good owners? And both of those times, and every time I've approached this conversation from people that are on the know, not in on the inside, but do know, say yes, no doubt. Whatever the players want, they get. Look at the Camden place. They want to build them a brand new arena. Like, they are good owners in that respect, but like, you can't tell me there's not this empty void by seeing Josh Harris involved with DC. Like, it tells you almost to the point, one man's take, that this is almost like an Amazon to him. Like, these are Amazon entities. Like, that's how I'm going to treat it. They're too big to fail.
Yeah.
Like, what are Sixer fans going to do? Not show up tonight? Come on.
To that point,
property.
To that point, I would say more owners than not view it as purely a business venture, that this is something that they're worried about the bottom line. I think in Philly, we've been lucky that I would say more so than most cities.
They all care about the bottom line, but there
Yes.
are levels to it, right?
Sure.
Like, let's talk about Mark Cuban when he was an
Sure.
owner. Let's talk about Ballmer. Let's
Middleton,
talk about
right here.
There you go. Right? Like, there's ways to go about it, you know?
And by the way, winning helps the bottom line here. That's like a part of the goal here is there's more success. You sell playoff tickets. People are excited about the team, buying jerseys. That winning is kind of the cure to all there. So there are overlaps in like good owners who care about the bottom line there. As far as like the Joel conversation as a whole, this is to me like a structure issue and has been forever. That when you think back to how many regimes Joel Embiid has sat through here, from the Sam Hinkie era to the Colangelo era to all these different like faces of the organization that have changed hands over time, it's been Joel Embiid as the stable point of this franchise, which is just not how it should be around a star player. That there should be an ecosystem for him to grow in. He's been the guy that has established that ecosystem. And I think over time that's been a huge kind of part of this equation that I can speak to say that like Joel is the guy that has made the decision at the end of the day for whether or not he plays a lot. And I find that wrong from his standpoint of like, if there is this plan. And Joel, by the way, kind of took a shot at this in when speaking to ESPN this summer, where he's like, the organization has to basically make that decision for me. And I'm more inclined to agree with him that I want guys that want to play every night. Joel should want to play every night. And sometimes it is on the organization to say it's not best for your future for you to be on the floor tonight. I think in general, Joel's had a little bit too much of a voice in that. My kind of hope and thought is that they're taking that back from him a little bit. But again, that doesn't save the whole optics of all of this. And I still will push and think that they have not leaned fully into the management the way they should have. Like, he's played far more basketball than people give him credit. So maybe this is the hope there, but I hear your frustrations as well, Brace, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Moving on, because like again, it's a new season.
Seriously, there has not been another player across the entire NBA to deal with what Joel has had to deal with from an organizational standpoint. Like, the amount of turmoil above him, the burner accounts, the big collars, the everything else that has gone down within the Sixers team here. Like, a guy should not have to deal with that. It's not great for to start developing and have to be the face in a way that he never really should have. And by the way, he has defied all odds that you never in a million years could anyone have guessed Joel Embiid could be remotely this good as basketball as he is, which is why we're still on the hook for having these talks.
It's just, like I said, it's more the same, but it's a new season. And it's like, I don't even want to get bogged down. Like, that's where I'm at right now with this organization, with this team. Like, I'm slowly fading, and it's just like, I'm a diehard. I love this team. I love Tyrese Maxey, but I just can't deal with this day in, day out Joel Embiid circus. Is he playing? Isn't he playing? What's going on? It was almost like I didn't have an issue with the back-to-backs, right? Like, okay, you said there was 15. 15 opened my eyes. I was like, damn, okay, that's a little bit of a hit. I would like to see my guy being able the opportunity to go out there and play for an MVP. I think an MVP award is huge for legacy. Like, that was an exciting moment for me. And these are the things, like, I don't know, as I get older, I start to find myself a little bit drawn to the regular season perspective, a little bit more to the in-season tournament. I thought that was fun last year. My point is, yeah, it's about winning an NBA championship, but we haven't done it. And only one team does it every single year. So how can I not enjoy when JoJo throws up 70 plus against the Spurs? How am I not enjoying when Maxey goes out there and throws up 50 in a game? Like, we need to enjoy those more instead of being focused on winning it all, because that eventually, that time to play for that title will come. But that's not until April. We got to go through a long winter here. All right. It's not even cold outside. It was 85 degrees yesterday. We still got to go through cold months here for crying
I'll
out
also
loud.
add that I guarantee majority of the people complaining about Joel Embiid not being ready for game one have also muttered to some effect I don't care until the playoffs, or nothing matters until the playoffs. Nothing matters until the postseason. So if that's the case, then are we really worried about what's going on October, at the beginning of October on game one of the season? We flash forward a couple months from now, people are going to forget that Joel Embiid and Paul George didn't even play in this game.
Hopefully that's the case. Hopefully that is the case. Or maybe Joel Embiid's got something going on with his knee on the inside. Maybe he'll be out for who knows with this organization. Anything is possible. All right, damn it. Let's get to the games tonight. All right, we got to pick a king of the court. We're 30 minutes into this bad boy. Great conversation across the board. DraftKings Sportsbook, 10 games. Let's see if we can find some winners and take advantage of that king of the court promotion. Sean Barnard, pretty damn cool. All I know is this. It's real easy. Now we're going to work through this. We only got 10 more days or 9 more days to do this. It's only for the first 10 days of the season. So here's what you got to do. You got to place a player prop bet. Any of those prop bets, threes, rebounds, assists, whatever it may be. If that player wins, you get a token back. And then you can go ahead and if you cash your that prop, that's great. Obviously, you cash that prop. But if that player goes on to lead the night in the NBA in the 3 categories of points, rebounds, and assists, he is deemed the king of the court. If you selected him, you will get a piece of $1 million. It's going to be a pie split up between everybody in America or everybody on DraftKings Sportsbook who picked said player. So we're going to pick our king of the court for tonight, see if we can get our parts of a little bit of $1 million. And we'll see if we can pick some winners as well with the all important, just bringing it back to picking a winning prop bet. You ready to go, Sean Barnard?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right. So you've been dialed in as far as the office is concerned, all off season long. Previews of these teams, breaking them down, the X's and O's. So this is where we need you. It's the beginning of the season wheelhouse. We'll start with the Bucks and the 76ers tonight, of course. Bucks are 3.5-point favorites, 223.5. If I'm looking at anybody from the king of the court perspective, Tyrese Maxey or Giannis, where do you stand on the spread? Where do you stand on today's game?
Yeah, I mean, I am optimistic about this Sixers team having a chance tonight. I do kind of like the 3.5 there. It would not shock me. I think there's a chance if the Bucks just show up focused from the get-go and are able to jump out to an early lead, and Sixers kind of struggle from there. But the Doc Rivers factor has me swaying away from that and don't really fully expect that to be the case. I think there's going to be a fight down to the wire, and I honestly give the Sixers a puncher's chance in this game. So don't have a ton of data to back that up because of the no Joel Embiid and no Paul George at this point in time. But I do have a good feeling about this team tonight. Now, as far as the betting perspective here, the king of the court, I am staying in this game, and I am going with Giannis tonight. The over 47.5 points, rebounds, and assists is my favorite prop for it, -125 odds there. When you look at the guys that actually lead in all categories as far as the points, rebounds, and assists, it really is a 3-man war. That it's Luka Doncic, who led the league last year, 51.35 combined points, rebounds, and assists per game. Giannis was 2 with 48.48, and Nikola Jokic was 3rd with 48.11. Huge drop off after those 3, with Shai Alexander the next at just 42.02. So about a 6 stats kind of gap between them there. I think that's going to be similar this season. Luka, Giannis, and Jokic, I think, just have more on their plates than just about everyone. Joel, if he is playing the games limit, is in that same mix there, but I do think that that's unlikely to happen for this year. But for this specific game, I think Giannis is going to be the heart of everything. This is something that he's got a lot to prove this year. He's been a little, overzealous as a quote this offseason that I expected, talking about potentially being traded if he doesn't do his job and things like that. So I expect him to be locked in and focused for this game. I do think that he's going to be at the epicenter of everything, and his physicality is going to be a tough ask for the Sixers team. So sign me up for the over 47.5 points, rebounds, and assists in this matchup. And I do think he's got a really good chance of leading the entire NBA tonight.
Giannis averaged 30 points last season, 11.5 rebounds. Damian Lillard, 24-7 in his first season with the Bucks. Last year, the Bucks owned the Sixers. They won all 3 meetings last season. So I don't know where I stand on this one from the betting perspective as far as taking a side. I probably would lean to Milwaukee, but again, it's a home opener. Who knows? Anything is possible, and it's a new team for the 76ers. So there's going to be a lot of new pieces, but I would probably lean to the Bucks in this one. Why not? Take a shot at Tyrese Maxey. Maxey, from a prop standpoint tonight, you got to go to points.
Yep.
Again, where's the scoring coming from the Sixers?
Yeah, Maxey's front and center for it. And one player prop parlay that I do like for this matchup, the debut for the Sixers, it is Tyrese Maxey points. I think he can get 30 plus. He's going to be the epicenter of everything they do offensively. And I like parlaying that with Andre Drummond rebounds. We're going up to 15 for this game here. I think you parlay those two, we got plus 264 odds. Drummond's going to be a guy that steps up as the starting center, a guy who's the self-proclaimed best rebounder of all time. Well, now is his opportunity to back that up on the floor. And for what it's worth, coming off the two best defensive rebounding rates of his career with the Chicago Bulls, I understand it was in more limited minutes than will be the case tonight, but I basically expect that guy to gobble up every single defensive rebounder and be active on the offensive end as well. So I think 15 is a fine ask there. I think 20 rebound games are going to become a little bit of the norm for Drummond, as they once were at another point in his career. Same dude that once averaged 16 points per game and has led the league in rebounding 3 times. So sign me up for Drummond with 15 plus rebounds and Maxey 30 plus points at plus 264 odds there.
All right, let's hit all these games 60 seconds tops. You ready?
Got it.
Pacers, Pistons. Pacers are 5-point favorites, 235. Game being played in Detroit. Of course, Indiana went on a run to the ECF last year, a very successful season. Do we expect the same this year, outlook-wise? And then tonight, given 5 on the road against Detroit.
Yeah, I like what Indiana's done, and I'm comfortable laying the points in this one. That I think Detroit got better this offseason. They're not going to be like the true bottom dwellers the way they were last year, but I still think I'm buying what Indiana's selling. I think that Halliburton's going to continue to get better. Benedict Mathurin is a guy that I believe has a real chance at most improved this season and will be a huge part of that team. They got talent. 5 points isn't enough for me, so -5 in favor of the Pacers on opening night.
All right, let's get on over to Cleveland and Toronto, where injury is the word between these two teams as well. A bunch of players out. Cavs, 6.5-point road favorites, 225, 7:30 start here on DraftKings Sportsbook. As I said, injury concerns here to Cavs. Max Strus, he's going to be out for 6 weeks due to a sprained ankle. Raptors listed RJ Barrett, and it looks like he is going to miss some time here. So a couple big players for both teams here out. Your thoughts on tonight's game?
Yeah, I lean towards the Raptors covering the +6.5 at home. I do think that they're going to look better this season. Emmanuel quickly continuing to improve. They got a couple of intriguing names. Grady Dick has looked pretty solid in preseason as well. A couple guys that I think could take that next step for Toronto. Scotty Barnes in that mix as well. And Cleveland, the injuries I do think are a factor. And I think that team's a little more theoretical than people give credit. That I haven't just seen the true, I guess, top tier, the way that they play is sometimes it's talked about. I get Donovan Mitchell as that dude. They got a lot of talent on roster, but I don't love the way it all fits together. So I think this ends up being a little bit of a game tonight. I think the Raptors ultimately stay within that +6.5, even if they don't walk away with a victory.
A whole lot of new going on in Atlanta for this upcoming season. You'll talk a little bit more about DeJounte Murray in that trade, but the Hawks tonight are 6.5-point home favorites against the Brooklyn Nets. Ben Simmons in the lineup tonight, Sean Barnard?
Expected to be, so we'll see how that goes. I think he probably plays.
Right.
I will say, my hatred for Ben has worn down significantly. I almost
not
feel
mine.
bad. Not yours.
No.
Dude, watching him out there, he's just a shell of what he once was, which is honestly just sad to see. The athleticism is zapped from him. He just doesn't have it anymore. So however you feel about that is totally acceptable there, but
the issue is, Sean, he'll still look into the camera and have no this is not my fault.
Yeah.
This is not my fault. I'm still an amazing player. People want me to that's the issue I have with it. And I don't expect someone that was the #1 overall pick to look at it in that manner, but maybe it might do him a little bit a favor for the public if he did care about that, to show that, a little bit of humbleness. Hey man, things didn't work out. And I'm trying, I'm working hard, again, I'm sure he has said something along those lines. I don't pay attention to every interview, so whatever. I'll never get over what happened here in Philadelphia. He was the centerpiece of making it happen, and all of a sudden he forgot how to play. So it is what it is. Moving on though, tonight.
Well, totally fair, and I'm going Hawks -6.5 here. That I think Brooklyn's going to struggle. I am on their over for the season of 19.5. That I don't think they're going to be the worst team in the NBA, but I do think that tonight they'll have some trouble in Atlanta. Sign me up for the Hawks -6.5 in the home opener.
I think they got Cooper Flag on the mind, and they are going to try really hard to get that overall 1 pick as possible. So, yeah, I'm on the under 19.5 for Brooklyn. I might have to fire that today. Sean Barnard, go head to head with you on that one. Good
There
luck,
you go.
though. Orlando and the Miami Heat, of course, the expectations there every single season for Miami, but it seemed like things weren't all smooth, peaches and cream down there in this offseason. A lot of things being tossed out there, mainly by Jimmy Butler. 2-point favorites against Orlando. Again, Orlando showed some promise last year. Can they take a next step up this year?
Yeah, I think they can, and I think they will tonight. That I like the +110 money line for Orlando. I do think they get the victory. Miami is a team that will flip the switch at some point this season, but it rarely happens in night one. I am buying guys continuing to take the leaps. Jalen Suggs just getting paid for the Magic there. Of course, Paolo Banchero at the heart of everything. Jamal Mosley, I think, is a pretty good NBA head coach down there. So I'm buying what the Magic are selling. I think that team's going to be a borderline contender in the East. I don't think they'll take quite that step this year, but wouldn't shock me if they end up a top 6 seed. I think that starts with getting the win tonight.
Love the Pelicans tonight, Sean Barnard. They're 6.5-point home favorites, 227. A lot of new with that team. A lot of stale old with the stale and old is kind of the same word, but you know where I'm saying. They were supposed to trade Levine. They're bringing everybody back. There's nothing new happening with the Bulls for this upcoming season. They're 6.5-point road dogs, 227 here. I like the Pels in a big way. Your thoughts?
Yeah, adding Josh Giddey doesn't move the meter for you, Sean Brace?
No, not really.
I'm intrigued by this Pelicans team. I do like them tonight. I think they come out strong. I'm not as sold on them for the long term yet. The Brandon Ingram stuff's really weird, and I do feel like there's some awkwardness there. I think we're probably trending towards a midseason trade of him, but there's just a ton of talent on that roster. DeJounte Murray, Zion Williamson, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones. They got guys that can do just about everything overall. So I think that they show that tonight, but I still approach this season with a little bit of skepticism for New Orleans overall.
All right, Charlotte and Houston. We talked a little bit about Charlotte yesterday. They're catching 7 on the road against Houston. Houston's a team that seems, look, if they show us what they were last year throughout that course of the 2-week stretch, like they were pretty damn dominant. They won 11 straight, if I'm not mistaken. They're 7-point favorites, 229. I like Udoka. I like the fact that they paid all their guys. They got a lot of things moving in their favor. Good rookie pick this year, too, as well. Yeah, I like the Houston Rockets, but the people are saying don't sleep on Charlotte this year. Where you at tonight?
Yeah, I'm rolling with the +7. I do think it's a little bit too much for this matchup. LaMelo Ball looks healthy. Brandon Miller's ready to take a leap. They're not going to be the true bottom feeders that I think we're accustomed to. I think this is a game that goes down to the wire. Houston, definitely a little bit of a talent advantage, but I think it's fairly close here. So sign me up for the +7, and I think this is one that goes down to the wire.
All right, what's the deal with the Utah Jazz? Tonight, they are 3-point dogs at home, taking on the Grizzlies. Love what Memphis has been able to do. Of course, getting Ja Morant back healthy and hopefully mentally stable. Nothing stupid this year. He is the difference. He is such a piece to the NBA puzzle right now. You talk about top 5, top 10 players that I definitely want to sit in front of a television and watch. Ja Morant's definitely in the top 5. No lie about that. 3-point favorites tonight, 228.5. Game being played in Utah. This is a 9 p.m. start time. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I love the Memphis -3 in this one. -3. I do think they go in there, take care of business, and probably produce a pretty comfortable victory. I don't think the books are quite reflecting how impactful Ja Morant can be. That yes, he's not the perfect NBA player, he's not the perfect basketball player, and has made his mistakes for sure. But that dude can carry an offense for stretches, hit some big shots, and I think it's being undersold the impact that he can bring. Let alone all the other guys that have recovered from injuries on that team. Marcus Smart coming back, Desmond Bane returning. All this is that now the Grizzlies that just a couple seasons ago were the 1 seed in the West. So don't count them out for the season. I think that starts with them taking care of business tonight.
Excellent. All right, let's keep it moving. 2 more on the card here. Golden State and Portland. Golden State 5.5-point favorites on the road in Portland. We talked a little bit about Portland yesterday. You think they could possibly be in the running for the worst team in the NBA. Golden State, best player in the damn planet, Steph Curry out there. Talk a lot about France. Who could forget about what he was able to do? Your thoughts on tonight's game?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as sky high on the Warriors from a season outlook, but I do think it starts with them getting a victory and pretty comfortably tonight. So I'm comfortable laying the -5.5 or -6, whatever it ends up settling at. I do think Portland is going to be a team that struggles this year. They got to let the young guys keep playing through their mistakes, and they're eventually going to have to figure out if any of those guys are capable of foundational pieces, which the early returns have not been overly promising there. So sign me up for the Warriors -6, and I don't think this can be one of the more watchable NBA games on the slate tonight.
All right. Final game on the NBA card here. Full card, night 1 on a Wednesday. Suns and Clippers. Suns, 5-point favorites. 225 is our total. What are our expectations for the Clippers this year? Of course, dealing with the Kawhi Leonard stuff, who played a lot of games last year. I think a lot of people are forgetting that. I know he's injury prone, understood, but didn't Kawhi Leonard play a ton of games last year?
Let me fact check exactly. And the number we're looking at for Kawhi, 68 last year. So yeah. Fair amount.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I that surprised me when I saw that. So that's why I bring it up.
Yeah. For this game specifically, a bit of a vibes pick, but I'm rolling with the Clippers on the money line +170 here. The new arena, I do think the pomp and circumstance is going to be there. There's going to be an energy in the air, and they're not a bad basketball team. I do think they're leaning more towards their defensive nature, which will be interesting to see how it matches up with this Suns team there. Obviously, a ton of offensive talent. It's going to be a lot of James Harden ball and will be throughout the length of the season, but there's other guys that can take care of business on this roster as well. So I do like the Clippers to get the opening night win, and I think the struggles will come a little later down the line.
Back-to-back on ESPN, you get the Sixers and the Milwaukee Bucks, followed by the brand new arena out there in LA and the Phoenix Suns. Sean Barnard, fantastic stuff. Your king of the court for tonight is?
Giannis Antetokounmpo. Sign me up.
I'm going to go Kevin Durant.
I like it.
I'm going KD in Phoenix, late game, so I'm still going to have a little, an opportunity there. But I'll go Kevin Durant. I'll go points, and we'll see if he can be the king of tonight's court. It's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out. Once again, DraftKings Sportsbook. Make sure you use Brace in the promo code. Sean Barnard, fantastic stuff across the board. People are saying they're tuning in. This guy, Young Money, says he tuned in specifically for you. I don't even know who you are. Some clown with an image of grandeur who I turned off immediately. Go cry some more. Thanks, Sean. Yeah, man. Look, if you think this is my first rodeo going around, all right, but I'm beat down, man. I'm beat down. That's all. This franchise don't care. I'm beat down. Understood. But I appreciate the young man's take. I really do. Like, I'm happy that there is some sort of enthusiasm and belief that, you know what, everything's going to be all right. We'll see. Tomorrow's another day. We play tonight, though. Let's go. Tyrese Maxey. That's what I need. I need to see Maxey back out on the floor. Once I see Maxey back on the floor, I might be able to put all the other nonsense to the side because he is a special player.
Yeah, he absolutely is. And I think people are going to be reminded of that pretty quickly. So I have high hopes for the Sixers team still. I understand it's not the smooth start to the season that we hope for, but I think there are better days ahead. And I think it starts with tonight. So let's get a victory. Andre Drummond and Tyrese Maxey come through for us and better days.
That's what I said, too, yesterday with Joe Fortenbaugh from ESPN when he tweeted out. And I came over the top because I was like, I'm not even defending this. Because you can go down to each thing and be like, well, they're doing it because it's just like, I'm as high as it gets on the 76ers coming into the season, but man, it's going to be a tough 48 hours. Good luck. They don't care. All right. Yeah. Sean Barnard, fantastic stuff. Once again, you can catch all of his work over at DK Network. Be sure to follow him, Sean_Barnard1. And as always, Sean, can't thank you enough. Good luck on those plays.
Yeah, absolutely. Same to you. And basketball season is here.
Woo! Let's go. All right. If you miss anything, at FoxPHLGambler.com for all of our podcasts. And don't go anywhere. More after this.